Okay, hello everybody. Hi, welcome. Welcome to this special session on Teachers' Day. I hope we're all audible and visible. Uh, just waiting for a couple of confirmations. I can see a couple of messages in the chat box, so I'm quite sure uh, the chat box is working well. So I'm just waiting for a confirmation that we're audible and visible before we kickstart today's special session. Slightly different, important session. I would say very important session from the perspective of cat because it's important to have some downtime as well. So this is that downtime session, and I'll take this opportunity to welcome GP, Shivku, Sazeal, and Ravi.
Happy Teachers' Day to all.
Hi
Yes, happy
everyone.
Teachers' Day.
Very happy Teachers' Day to all of you. In fact, I'm not wishing the teachers here. I'm actually wishing the students here because we get to learn a lot from you.
They teach us.
Oh, every day. Perfect. Yeah, I think it's all fine and good to go. Uh, Big T has gone ahead and reverted. So thanks for that, Big T. So this session is going to be slightly different. Thanks, Disha. This session, as I said, think of it as a little bit of a downtime. The team went ahead and posted, I think, a link on YouTube on the community section of YouTube and across the Telegram groups as well, asking students to share certain questions which they wanted, specific teachers to go ahead and answer. So there are some funny questions which have been put here, collated by the team, which have been asked by all. And in addition to that, I think there are some very technical questions related to cat and preparation as well, specifically oriented to Lord Raviteja sir, which we'll get to as well.
To
But
Lord RT, raised to
yeah,
99 percentile, RT 99.
yeah. So let's officially go ahead. Let's go ahead. Let's kickstart. Let's see what's in store. Neha, over to you. If you can just move ahead, move to the next screen. Oh, interesting. So the first question is actually for GP. What's the most surprising thing you've learned about yourself through teaching?
Surprising thing about myself.
Yes, about yourself.
अरे बाप रे सरप्राइजिंग थिंग अबाउट माई सेल्फ तो सोचना पड़ेगा तो तो पहला क्वेश्चन ही फेल हो रहा हूँ मैं लगता है
ये कैट एग्जाम है जीपी प्रिपरेशन नहीं है अभी अपनी
so if it is cat I can afford to leave the question na pass
this Tita GP we tell students not to leave there are not MCQ.
Okay,
But it
most
seems to be
surprising
round
thing I
3.
learned about myself. Yeah. I don't know whether it was most surprising but क्योंकि कुछ चीजें पहले से करता रहा था मैं but through teaching okay, I have always been an introvert. I don't interact much with people. If I'm traveling on a flight, so 4 घंटे की भी हो तो I can just pass time किताब पढ़ते हुए. I may not even know who's sitting next to me. So I was never considered to be a good communicator as such, and so teaching probably I realized that communication is much more than speaking. Okay? And शायद यही कह सकता हूँ. The other thing which is interesting, one thing which I have also learned about myself is now जब बात कर रहे हैं तो निकले आज ही जो बात कर रहे थे ऑफिस में, I realized that not being a good student in school was an advantage because I was not good in studies in school, so I understand the pain. I understand what are the pain points of students who are not good, who are not able to understand, and probably that is why I am able to many times reach out to students and come down to their level. So ये चीज डिस्कवरी डेफिनेटली हुई मेरे लिए अपने लिए कि स्कूल की पढ़ाई ना करने का कितना फायदा होगा आगे चल के तब नहीं मालूम था. I think यही आंसर दे सकता हूँ इसमें तो I can't think of anything else.
Nice one. Interesting. We can go around the table as well. Ravi, what's your take? What would you say? Same thing for yourself?
I think the most surprising thing that I have learned through teaching is that I can teach. I mean, I never thought I would teach. Only after joining CL, after seeing the classes, attending a few from very great teachers, I thought, let's try it out, and I'm happy it worked out for me. Because I was also a complete average student throughout my life. In fact, I missed a couple of campus placements because उनको overall 65% चाहिए था और मेरा graduation was only 64. So, it happens. So being an average teacher, I'm pretty average student. I'm pretty glad that I could teach and students could enjoy some of the class. At least students could enjoy some of the classes.
I,
Interesting. We're getting a couple of questions.
I have an interesting
Gauri, Gautam.
thing I want to share,
Yeah,
GB.
yeah, Sajid.
Just quick one. मुझे तो बहुत अतरंगी से फीडबैक मिले स्टूडेंट्स से which I learned about myself when I was teaching. While teaching, I try to do try to make it a little jovial, और जनरली मैं बच्चों को बोलता हूँ जरिया तुम ही हो मजाक करने का वरना मैं बोर हो जाऊंगा. So you have to keep me entertained. So at the end of a couple of sessions, students told me that why don't you try stand-up comedy? So I realized that could be an alternate career option for me also. So that is what I did.
Sazeal,
हाँ.
have you ever seen Srini taking a class? वो stand up comedy करता है. And if anyone has attended his classes or his seminars, you'll realize
Yes.
he's only doing that, and he puts acting into teaching everything. So yes. So if you that's the feedback you are getting from students, maybe at least part time पे शुरू कर देना चाहिए.
I thought so too. Yeah.
Perfect. Gauri Gautam's asking, is Jijo sir not joining? So Jijo is doing what we generally always do. He's in class as we speak. He's taking a session. So he was unable to join this particular one. Yeah, Neha, we could move ahead.
Now the question for GB, I will read it out, GB, for you. What's the one thing you never expected to do as a teacher, but you can't imagine a job without? Oh, very interesting.
ये googlies ही आ रहे हैं आज.
Googly.
One thing you never expected to do. Probably spend the amount of time I do, over on my phone. The amount of time I spend on phone calls. So I think a lot of phone calls that we get from students, with respect to certain questions or queries that they have. So it's reached a situation where every day, 1 hour is blocked. That this time to this time is only for calls to have a conversation with students. So I think, इतना आई थिंक मैंने अपने कोर्टशिप पीरियड में भी बात नहीं की जितना रोज रेगुलरली स्टूडेंट से बात करते हैं to help resolve queries or have discussions. And then during those discussions, you get to meet students from so many different backgrounds with so many different issues with such myriad lifestyles and things that they've gone through. So there is a lot that you end up learning and understanding. And then again, ऑन द स्पॉट आंसर्स ऑफ सर मेरा ये स्पेसिफिक इशू है एंड फर्स्ट टाइम ऐसा इशू सुन रहे हो उसको कैसे रिजॉल्व करना है व्हाट आर थिंग्स टू डू सो आई थिंक दैट्स क्वाइट एन इंटरेस्टिंग थिंग टू डू एंड दैट constantly keeps me on my toes. So I really can't imagine teaching or being associated with the education industry without regular conversations with students.
Yeah, true.
Actually, if I can just add to what Gautam is saying, and शायद मैं अपना आंसर इसमें घुसा रहा हूँ, that one thing I've realized is, at least in our job, it is not only teaching. Teaching is much more than taking a class. That counseling, that guiding students, I think that is one thing I think जो बहुत ज़्यादा होता है हमारा, and may or may not be there for school teachers, but for us it is as much or maybe more than what we do in terms of classroom teaching.
Agreed.
Wow. So questions have started coming, by the way.
Yeah,
So
side
guys, we
में
will take the questions as we come to that.
look at Mahim's remark. Who is the person behind shortlisting these googlies for you all? Catch him.
She is
नेहा को
backstage.
पकड़ना होगा.
Okay.
Neha is a good wicket keeper. Huh?
Shivku, this one's for you.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, so many
Has any student
students.
ever taught you something? Of course.
Yeah, I think it happened very early in my life. There was this I think 1999 when I was just about year and a half into teaching. So I had a student called Pranav. Right, Pranav was congenital blind, born blind. I remember I was sitting at the counseling desk. This is very early days in my career, And so one of our earlier students brought Pranav and said, "Ki sir, Shivku, when Pranav wants to join the CAT program." So I was a little, I was thinking in my own mind, ki kaise karega, right? Completely blind. Um, Maths करनी है, maths सिखाना है, data interpretation सिखाना है, right? Language you can still understand. I think they normally are better at language than most other people. So I remember the first thing that he said, Shivku, I want to go to IIM Ahmedabad. Tell me what to do. Right? That was his first statement. So that kind of really shook me. Saying, ki, boss, you're thinking so small. Look at this guy. Uh, and he is thinking much bigger than what you're thinking, right? So I think that was something that made me take that as a challenge, and it was an amazing journey for me for year and a half. I think probably, and we never used to prepare for year and a half then. About I think it was he started a little early, so about 8 months, and we used to have that time I was not married, so घर जल्दी पहुंचना है ये वाला टेंशन नहीं था. So मेरे classes होते थे 9:30 in the night, and I used to go to his house at 9:30 in the night, and our sessions used to start from 10. I told him that you have to change your body clock. If you want something from me, you have to change your body clock. So my classes used to be at 10:30 in the night, 10 in the night. So I used to go have dinner. His mom used to make dinner for me. 10 to 12 o'clock, we used to actually we I used to teach about four days a week, and the next morning he used to be there in the morning at our GK1 center, C197 center, sitting there recording the lecture. He used to carry one छोटा सा उस जमाने में एक लैपटॉप ज़्यादा नहीं था, but he used to carry one छोटा सा tape recorder. He would tape it. He would go back home, translate it, right, transcribe it, and then I would go and check whether everything is okay or not. And while teaching him, I think there are two things that one is about the resilience of the person. So आज की डेट में कोई भी बच्चा मुझे आके बोलता है मेरे से ये नहीं होगा, मुझे हमेशा वो प्रणव याद आता है. मतलब कैसे नहीं होगा. जो बंदा, the guy uh, whose life seems to be in darkness, he's seeing light all over, and you guys are saying that I can't do it. So I ignore somebody who tells me कि मेरे से नहीं होता है, right? So he taught me one about that attitude, and second is, and I have never seen that guy having a negative attitude in life. Amisha is always looking at what next, and उसके बाद जो था, I think he also made me a better communicator, because as maths teachers you will say, okay, this is equal to 4. He would say, what is this, right? So it made me a lot more clearer in my own communication. So he was a great teacher for me, right? So I don't think of him as a teacher. So um, and most of the current days जो PWD का जो extra hour that you get, right, that is an outcome of we petitioning IIM Lucknow in 1999. GP, you remember? I mean, पहले वो
Yes.
एक महीने
और
पहले IIM लखनऊ ने बोला था कि हाँ हम एक्स्ट्रा
देंगे और
टाइम
दिया भी
देंगे,
नहीं.
और एक दिन पहले उन्हें बोला सॉरी वी कैन नॉट गिव टाइम. This is what IIM Lucknow did, and we petition, we wrote a mail. From the next year they actually did that. So I think, to me, acha, now to cut the long shorty, I mean this is obviously a long story, but I want to cut snippet here. I am sure all of you must be thinking, what happened to Pranav, right? Pranav went to IMI Delhi, he did his MBA. He didn't go to IIM. I mean, I think he would have gone to IIM, but for whatever, I mean, दो घंटे में कैसे हो सकता है? That 1999 paper, the pattern also changed. It moved from a 2-section to a 3-section suddenly.
He still had a decent soul, Shivku.
He had so
I think 94, 92.
and then what is Pranav doing now? In fact, I was just narrating this to somebody in our office today. Just about a week back, right? Pranav's dad had passed away, so I had gone for that ceremony. I saw one wall in his house which has got some 12 photographs, very nice photographs. I asked Pranav, "ये किसने लिया है?" He said, "This is my photos." And if you look at the photo, that wall, you wouldn't believe that. I mean, somebody who cannot see could have taken those photos. And Pranav's photos were put up in an exhibition somewhere in the US. So he had got all those photos and he's just framed a huge wall. And today he is there's a company called Lloyd's Finance, I think, which is a UK based company. He's a cyber security uh, head uh, in India for that company. तो ये जो मेरे से नहीं होता है ना, I think whenever I think कि मेरे से नहीं होगा, I always think of Pranav. So he's been the best teacher for me.
Fabulous.
Wow. Wow, what a story.
I needed to hear to this. I think. I mean,
Yes. Big T says Pranav is the Beethoven of cat. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, this one's for me. If your
Yeah,
classroom had
Sazeal.
a theme song, what would it be? Well, there are a lot of songs that come to my mind, but एक theme song बिल्कुल हो सकता है. सिया का सुना है आपने? You have heard of Unstoppable by Sia. So I think the words that resonate best are in the class that I would work for myself and for all of you is I'm unstoppable. I'm the Porsche with no brakes. I'm invincible. I win every single game. So I think that is how your attitude should be, whether whether you are sitting at a 90 percentile plus or not, doesn't matter. If you play with that attitude, if you work with that attitude, I'm sure you are unstoppable and you'll get there. So I think that song resonates with me and in my classroom.
Lovely. I'm
I
sure
would love to hear some more
Diljit
in
felt the
case
same.
sorry.
I'm sure Diljit felt the same before the collab.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to hear other songs if in case
ये
anyone has
मेरा
some.
मेरा इसमें ना, I mean, normally when I drop my son at school right in the morning, कभी कभी is a 8th grader, so कभी I always play that one song. I am sure all of you would have heard about this, right? हमको मन की शक्ति देना, right? Jai Bahaduri's. There's
Yeah.
one particular line that in that in that lyrics which says, दूसरों की जय से पहले खुद की जय करे. To me, I
Absolutely.
think it's a, you can't win the world if you can't win yourself, right? So I feel that is important. And all of us, we talk about this in PDP, right? uh, but I feel that's one very inspiring song. मुझे हमेशा वो एटलीस्ट कुछ कुछ पंक्तियां बहुत अच्छी लगते हैं.
Beautiful.
शिवको there's like saying दूसरे को लाइफ जैकेट पहनाने के पहले खुद को
Yeah,
पहनाना होता
I
है.
was just about to say that.
देखो
हर
एकदम सही
फ्लाइट में
शब्द
सुनना पड़ता है.
हर फ्लाइट में पहले ये सुनते हैं. तो अपने ख्याल रखो, बाकी बाद में दूसरों का रखो.
Yeah. So I think the next one is for Ravi, and while the question comes, Ravi, John Wick has a huge crush on you, and Sharayu is also stating the same. Sorry, but I have a huge crush on you. So
maybe
It's about
maybe
good
again
day
I'm
for
the
you.
mustache.
youngest
Last year, I
lot.
remember in one session, someone commented on Ravi's mooch. So I think that's his one of his USPs.
So if you
So
could create your own holiday,
what would it celebrate? Okay, now interesting. What would it celebrate? See, personally, for me, in my perspective, uh, what would I want to celebrate the most is peace in life. I take classes 9:30 to I work a 10 to 7 job. I come home, I take a class 9:30 to 7:30, and I also know that 11:30, and I also know that people who are attending that class are mostly working professionals. So you don't have enough time to for yourself and your family and your own peace. So a perfect vacation, a perfect holiday, would be 2 days with no phone calls, 2 days with no clutter around the world, time that you spend with your family, and you get to sleep like 10 hours a day. I think that is what it would celebrate. If because the same is true for either the teachers who are working 24/7 almost, and the students who are also working 24/7. So I think you should celebrate peace. You should celebrate time for yourself.
अच्छा
Perfect.
जॉन विक रवि इज मैरिड एंड ही हैज गॉट अ किड ठीक है तो तो दूसरा
And my
शादी
wife
तो
is
नहीं करने
watching
वाला
the
है
session on YouTube on TV.
अच्छा शी इज नॉट ऑन यूट्यूब नो
No, she's
Yes, she's
watching this
watching.
session on YouTube on TV.
ओके
Uh,
अच्छा
Okay.
so I'll just pick up one or two questions which are come in the chat box before we go to the next question. Relevant for GP and Shivku sir, since it has been so many years for you guys that you graduated from the Holy Trinity. How do you see your journey from the college days to now? Any regrets? Something you guys want to share? So
Yeah,
Trinity में से दो तो है हाँ?
एक्चुअली
B and
बिल्कुल
C.
कोई रिग्रेट नहीं है यार. I always tell people कि हमारा काम बहुत अच्छा है. That and एक और चीज है ना, बहुत जल्दी समझ आ गई थी कि अपनी औकात कॉर्पोरेट वर्ल्ड में टिकने की नहीं है. The corporate world is huge amount of politics, backbiting, दूसरे की टांग खींचना, वो आज तक नहीं हुआ हमसे. Then you're always running just to stay where you are, and then you are marching on someone else's tune. वो बॉस नहीं था. जल्दी पता चल गया ये मेरे लायक चीज नहीं है, मैं इसको नहीं संभाल सकता. We opted out. Yeah, I don't know about Shivku, but I'm very clear about this part. So glad that I opted out. And second thing, something which I tell everyone, the best thing about our work is that we are always in touch with young people. And then when I look at my batchmates from MBA or from engineering, आधे से ज्यादा बुड्ढे सठिया गए हैं. ठीक है, the only thing they do is Twitter पे बैठ के अपना कमेंट मारते अपनी भड़ास निकालते हैं, and they are passing time till they retire. Okay, so at least we don't have any of those issues. We love our work. At least I enjoy my work. And the other day someone was saying कि कब तक काम करोगे? मगर teaching will happen till I am there. The day I am out, obviously I can't teach. But till I am alive, I will keep teaching. कम हो ज्यादा हो, that's a separate thing. And the other क्या कहते हैं thing would be कि आजकल तो लैपटॉप लेके कहीं से भी क्लास ले सकते हैं. So it is good. Perfect age for retirement for GP. The age of retirement is when you die. ठीक है, तब तक करो. ठीक है. And I would say that is not only for the kind of work I do, because if you stop working, if you stop doing something meaningful, you will in any case die yourself. You will get bored, you will not know what to do, and you will become a burden on everyone around you. So मेरे को
Very
कोई
true.
टेंशन नहीं है इसके अंदर.
GP, I'll follow your
मेरे
footsteps.
क्या regrets हैं?
अच्छा same here. I mean, I don't think we have any regrets. In fact, I think teaching has given me a lot more than what I would have gone otherwise. अगर कुछ regret है तो I wish I could have enjoyed more Sundays early on in my life. So because I remember the first 10 years, 12 years of teaching, there was no Sunday off, right? And
Actually, Sundays were hectic. Had more classes.
so thankfully my wife was a homemaker, so tension थोड़ा कम था. But otherwise, I think it can be very this one. Regret तो नहीं है. I wish we could have had a couple of more hours in a day. क्योंकि मुझे एक जमाने में पढ़ने का बहुत शौक था, right? And somehow the amount I have read in the past few years is less than what I think I would have liked to do.
ये बात तो ठीक कह रहे शिवकू. When I look back, till about 95, 96 बहुत कुछ पढ़ा. उसके बाद पढ़ना बंद ही हो गया एकदम. And the only thing I read now is the newspaper.
Yeah, and I stopped reading newspapers.
Newspaper is
Yeah,
more of
I
a
don't.
habit.
So
Well,
post. Yes,
So
Sazeal, go.
someone is asking me my age. I turn 60 next year. 13 January 65. I'll be exactly 60.
Aditya will handle your question. Don't worry. Right? Just,
Aditya. Yes.
I think is. Yeah,
एक
Sazeal, go on.
question है very very specific to Arks. Did not see Arks this season. Where is he? Arks is busy doing his PhD, so he's doing his doctorate.
Ax is in
So
IIT
he,
Kanpur doing his PhD.
yeah. Okay,
Perfect. So there's a
let's move
question for
on.
GP. GP on the screen.
Uh-huh.
What's the most bizarre question a student has ever asked you?
Actually, I have never come across a bizarre question. क्या होगा यार?
When will
It
you
was on
stop?
2 minutes.
When will you stop teaching? अभी तो पूछा था.
एक
He's
bizarre
on
question है
phone.
और आप सब किस पार्टी को सपोर्ट करते हो? I think that's a bizarre question that we would not want to answer here. So
No, I don't have a problem even answering that because to me, my preference for a political party or otherwise, as long as it does not impact my judgment of issues, it is not an issue at all. Problem tab hogi when I allow it to impact my judgment on any particular issue. If for example, if I support the current central government BJP ki and I blindly follow them, then it's a problem. So as long as I can objectively let's say analyze and say ये ठीक कर रहे हैं गलत कर रहे हैं तो मुझे कोई नहीं because end of the day again मैं थोड़ा digress कर रहा हूँ सजील क्योंकि ये मेरे favorite areas में से आता है. End of the day, I've always believed politics is about, or democracy is about choosing best among the worst. So let's be clear, none of them is perfect. You have to choose the one who you think will do the best job among them. झेलना है सबको.
very true.
Perfect. To Shivku and Sazeal, if you could teach one life lesson to every student, what would it be?
Okay,
And-
Shivku, I'll start
yeah, go
because
on.
my answer is going to be an uncle answer for sure. And I'm sure, surprisingly, I saw in the chat my mother is also in the session. I don't know how. I've not shared the link.
Fab.
So this one's for you, Mama, because she taught me this. So there is something that someone taught me, my parents taught me, and I have not been able to completely follow it, but I'm trying to learn still. And that is what I would suggest to the students also. There's something in Gita that is called Sthit Pragya. Sthit Pragya is someone who is balanced, who doesn't get swayed by emotions, whether too positive or too negative. स्कोर बहुत अच्छा आया तो बहुत ज्यादा खुश होना, या बहुत खराब आया तो डिप्रेस हो गया, मैं अब क्या करूं लाइफ में. I mean, that doesn't happen. Is where we need to be. We need to reach that position, and I think I have progressed towards that in the last 20 years. So I think that is the biggest lesson that I want to give to the students. कि जितना हो सके बैलेंस्ड बनो. बहुत डिफिकल्ट है, आसान नहीं है, but if you look at the positives and if you are able to analyze your situation and introspect within yourself, I think you will get there. And at the same time, another thing which is related to that is that trust yourself. Trust yourself. सुनो सबका, करो अपना. Listen to all the opinions, put some in the dustbin as you feel, take some with you and learn. Don't give a shit about what people say. लोग क्या बोलते हैं उससे फर्क नहीं पड़ना चाहिए. तुम्हें क्या करना है उससे फर्क पड़ना चाहिए. राइट? तुम क्या सोचते हो उससे फर्क पड़ना चाहिए. यस, सबका सुनना चाहिए. इन केस यू आर गोइंग रॉन्ग, यू कैन डू अ कोर्स करेक्ट, बट दैट्स ऑल. सो आई थिंक मेरी तरफ से यही है. शिवकू?
Yeah, I think very, very similar. So it looks like I've copied. I think to me, the most important thing is you must trust yourself. The moment you do that, I think everything else follows. Right? And when I trust myself, I don't have to be as good as somebody else in some area. Right? कभी कभी problem आती है कि I want to be as good as XYZ in a particular area. Maybe I don't have the skill, but I trust that I'm given something which makes me unique. So the moment you lose your trust, self-esteem, I think it's always a downhill. To me, the day you lose your self-esteem, it's going to be a very tough battle that you would have to fight.
एक और लेसन है भाई. जो स्थित प्रज्ञा वाला बात किया मैंने, being balanced, right? The thing that I did was break up before my cat so that my cat goes well. I'm not suggesting it as I always say, but yeah, that's one of the ways.
How do you always stay positive?
How was the payoff?
ये तो
ये शिव यार बहुत सिंपल है यार. And I'm sure if you talk to most of the faculty members in career launch and maybe outside also, they'll tell you the same thing. Because taking a class is relaxing. You get rid of all your tensions and everything. Those 2 hours inside the class, it is terrific if you ask me. सब tension बाहर हो जाती है क्लास के अंदर, एक अलग माहौल होता है. So if someone tells me कि पढ़ाना बंद कर दो बाकी सब काम कर लो, मैं मेरे से नहीं होगा at least. I can leave everything else and teach. So I don't, and I'm possibly speaking for everyone else out here that for most of us, if there's an exception, they can always say that taking a class is actually relaxing rather than tiring.
GP, in fact, I want to add to
absolutely.
that and talk on behalf of everyone else. मुझे याद है कि मैं 7 o'clock को फर्स्ट लेक्चर से लेके 11 o'clock को लास्ट लेक्चर खत्म किया है, बीच में 4-5 लेक्चर्स लिए हैं, एंड वी ऑल डन दिस, एंड स्टिल एट द एंड ऑफ इट some people in the office, in the class used to ask us कि भाई थकते नहीं हो क्या रात को भी, how are you so energetic रात को. I'm sure you look at Raviteja today in the night class and say the same कि भाई तू पूरा दिन काम करके आया, थकते नहीं हो क्या. बट एक्चुअली स्टूडेंट्स गिव अस एनर्जी, वो क्लास के सामने आके वो आ जाता है स्टूडेंट्स के साथ. सो आई थिंक दैट इज द बैटरी दैट चार्जेस अस.
I I like to pick this up. I come from a background where I was a trader for a short amount of time. The good thing about being a trader is you have a very very short time period to operate. The markets open at a very specific time and the markets close at a very very specific time. So I was working in Amsterdam and our trading period used to be 9 a.m. 4:30 p.m. done. उसके बाद half an hour थोड़ा conversation. So 9 to 5, a typical 9 to 5 job. That is what it was. In education, it's not that, right? You start off early in the morning, you get up. The moment you get up, you go to the washroom. There are 10 telegram messages that have come overnight which need to be answered. That's how the day starts. The day ends with a night class. Post just before going to sleep, you're answering some 5-6 more telegram messages. So it's a 7 to 12 kind of a thing. But if I compare the two, I think I was 5 times, 10 times more tired at the end of a trading day than I have ever been when I've been teaching. And that's predominantly because of what GP said. This is not work. If you talk to cricketers, they'll turn around and state, this is what I always wanted to do. So each moment I'm spending on the field, whether it is practicing, whether it is actually playing a match, it's not work. That is what I'm here to do, and I think that's exactly what it is. And I think we're slightly luckier than cricketers. Their lifespan is very limited. They'll have to retire at a 35, 40, 42. Maybe Dhoni will go to 43, 44. But like GP said, अपना तो चलेगा अभी. जो lifespan है तब तक चलेगा. So I think that's the luck, the lucky part for us.
Raviteja, how do you keep smiling? ये मैं पूछ ही लेता हूँ रणवीर को.
Sellotape लगाया है, आज दिखा रहा है.
For me, it is a very, very simple funda, Shivku. I think those 4 hours or 6 hours that I teach in a week are the 6 most lively hours for me in the week.
Good.
Apart from those 10 odd hours in a week that I spend with my daughter, I would give second ये teaching का ही space है वहाँ पर. I mean, nothing can replace that. I think आजकल when I take meetings with my sales team also, I take this XP pen with me. I share a presentation and I start writing on it. I think even business conferences I do like this only. So it's the part I enjoy the most. मतलब see, आप बात कर रहे हो सामने 100 लोग सुन रहे हैं, मतलब कुछ वैल्यू है उस चीज का. एंड आई थिंक वो वैल्यू और कई जगह नहीं मिलता है. एक हर्षा भोगले को मिलता है और अपने को मिलता है. That's it.
एंड रवि, इसमें ना एक बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग चीज है. मैं कितना भी घटिया टीचर क्यों ना हो, there will be 5 stones who think I am God. So ours is a very dangerous place कि सर पे चढ़ना बहुत आसान होता है. So that's the only thing I think that I tell everyone to be careful of. Remember कि boss, ultimately the student is putting in the effort, the student is going through. हम गलती से रास्ते में उसे मिल गए और हमने उसका फायदा उठा लिया, उतना क्रेडिट ले लिया. But ये बहुत जरूरी है. And the second thing, Ravi, just connecting to what you said, the 10 hours which you spend it with your daughter, make it 12 or 14 because 3-4 साल बाद ये मौका नहीं मिलेगा. And you're absolutely right. Nothing can beat that. Nothing can beat it. Everything else is a distant. वो है ना जो कहते थे एक टाइम पे मूवी इंडस्ट्री में बॉलीवुड में 1 to 10 was अमिताभ बच्चन and then 11th. तो तुम अभी उस स्टेज पे हो. 1 to 10 is those 10 hours with your daughter and 11th comes teaching and after that nothing comes.
Absolutely. I mean, वही है, fun है teaching ना. If teaching was not fun, none of us would do it.
Absolutely. ये आदित्य के क्वेश्चन ले लेते हैं क्या?
Yeah, there are a couple which are coming. Ek is on QA1000, Shivku, if you want to pick that up.
Yeah. I think next week it will be launched. September 10th.
Perfect.
Okay,
so I think
that answers the QA1000 wala question. 10 September, right? अब मत पूछना. 10 September को ले लेना.
अच्छा, तो आदित्य वाला एक आई थिंक वो बहुत टेंशन में है. आदित्य what I think he didn't I think he's a CLAT student, GP, so I think he put a question to both of us, right? CLAT student didn't make it through MHCT, right? He's planning to take CLAT again, so he's very tensed how it's going to happen.
काम करोगे? Can you call me tomorrow?
ठीक है.
Because यहाँ पे फिर वो पूरा divert हो जाएगा. Or maybe you can call me around 10 p.m. tonight.
He might ask for your number towards the end. We can share it probably towards the end.
Yeah, I will share the number. तुम मुझे मेरे से वीडियो कॉल कर दो, ठीक है?
And guys, आपके सारे क्वेश्चन उठाने का ट्राई करेंगे आज.
एक सवाल मैं लेना चाहता हूँ यार. ये I think I'll take this up में, ठीक है? शुभदीप का है, ठीक है? Now, one of the things which I want Shubhadeep, you and everyone else to understand that कभी किसी की कॉपी मत बनो. Okay? You are the first copy of yourself. Why do you want to become a second-hand GP? Okay? And that is what I think is important. Raviteja is Raviteja because he is doing the way things he does. If he copies me, he loses his originality. Same thing for Gautam or same thing for Sazeal and same thing for everyone. एक चीज याद रखो. I don't know if your generation is aware of Kishore Kumar. But Gautam Baba तो अच्छी तरह से जानता है. Kishore Kumar, when he started his career, he would copy KL Sehgal. He became Kishore Kumar when he started becoming original and he stopped copying KL Sehgal. KL Sehgal was a giant, but you cannot live your life being KL Sehgal part 2. So he became Kishore Kumar when he stopped copying KL Sehgal. And that is what I think is the good thing about Gautam, Sazeal, Raviteja, and practically every faculty in CL. They are original. They should not be copying anyone. Okay? कोई किसी की सेकंड हैंड कॉपी ना उनको बनना चाहिए ना तुमको बनना चाहिए. Back to you, Sazeal.
Yes. So we have a question on the screen. So this is GB and Raviteja. If you had to sum up your teaching style in a movie title, what would it be? And don't say Gangs of Wasseypur because that's mine.
रवितेजा कौन सा? तुम तो मूवी
जी भी
आते हो.
एक क्वेश्चन फिर मैं थोड़ा सा आपसे आइडिया कॉपी करता हूं, बट मेरा ओरिजिनल थॉट
movie title. So from a title perspective, I would say Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum. And the gum part is, when students sometimes come back, they were unable to make it, or they're facing certain difficulties, or they feel down sometimes. So there are certain stories that come back and hit you as well, especially in mentorship during PDP personalized. I have faced multiple issues where multiple stories, especially in that first interaction where we have, which is almost like a autobiography, where you hear stories, you have an interaction and they talk about their entire life. I think there have been a lot of hard-hitting stories at that point in time, which have stayed with me. In fact, today also 2 to 3 of them actually WhatsApped, Happy Teachers Day. A couple of those stories just immediately came back. So But if I were to just twist it a little, I would say बहुत ज़्यादा खुशी थोड़ा गम, gum from the stories, but a lot of happiness, around it, because eventually today, when you reflect back and you see where they are today now and the conversations that happen, so yeah, it fills one up with a lot of happiness. Yeah.
I think I would go with the School of Rock GB, because uh, just in like that movie, Jack Black doesn't have enough resources to teach,
Yeah.
but he does what he knows best. So in my classes, what I would do is I'll tell what I know best about that particular topic. And I admit to the students that I may not know all 1000 topics under the sun. I may only know about 500 topics under the sun, but those 500 topics will take you through. So use your resources to the best of your ability, and you'll be through, and you'll get through. And I think that would sum it up.
Perfect. Perfect. This is very interesting question for Jijo. I saw this yesterday also. So when the team was talking and we were like, Jijo's not there, I was like, the question still needs to be there, because it's very important. Very serious question. I have been contemplating about it for about a year. The question is, does Jijo sir only speak when he wears the Jijo Speaks t-shirt, or is he capable of giving those energetic talks without that special part t-shirt as well? He needs to prove that he can speak without wearing the Jijo Speaks t-shirt.
I think that's a
So
merchandise material, my friend. We can
इसके
actually.
नीचे नहीं, इसके नीचे the answer had also come. This was there in the community post and the answer came. Guess what? It is like ये Iron Man का suit है उनका. All the power comes from there.
Hard.
I think Jijo speaks the best when he wears that black kurta, jaldi bol panvel nikalne wala kurta. He comes in that, and he delivers a lecture, and that lecture is out of the world. I mean, I remember in 2018 when I joined CL, there was an inner circle training for all faculties pan India. There were about 100 quant and DILR faculties there, and Jijo took a session on how to take a session for students, right? And those 1.5 2 hours that Jijo delivered to us, that energy, I, I think unmatched. And he was not wearing Jijo Speaks that day. He was wearing that black kurta only. So I remember it
So
very
yes, he can
clearly.
speak without Jijo speaks.
Hence proved.
All right, good
Perfect.
question.
Okay, so before we go to the next section, question students shared with us a couple of them. These are going to be certain technical questions. So before we go there, I'll just go ahead and take a couple of questions which are coming.
No, no,
Okay.
Jijo. Oh, sorry, GB.
Yeah.
शरयू का क्वेश्चन जरूर लेना. कब से पूछ रहे हैं? रवि का आयन स्टोरी.
Instinct so
Perfect.
intellect always यार इसमें आकाश Alek, no dispute with this opinion.
Perfect. Yeah, so I just wanted to take a few questions which are now coming oriented to prep. We can probably pick this up.
फाइनली
GP,
हर्षित का क्वेश्चन आ गया.
हाँ, ये कोई 12 बार आ चुका है, तो apologies for that. So in CDC 345, sees his respective marks 37, 57, 39. Please tell me whether you are aware of any student who's gone to 99 percentile with these marks initially. And this is actually 2-3 more students have posted a similar question stating September में 25, 30, 35, 40 आ रहा है. Is it possible for me to get to 99 considering there are about 2.5 months to go? Yeah, GP, you'd like to pick this up first?
Yeah, all of us know quite a large number of students like this. Yeah,
Oh,
I don't think ऐसा कुछ है भी इसमें. And every year we come across students who are not doing well initially. On the day of the CAT, they excel. The key always, I believe, is just being consistent. Focus on the process. कल लगे रहो, हो जाएगा ठीक.
absolutely. I think I can think of a couple of students last year itself who were scoring roughly around 30, 35 last year around this time and ended up at ABC. So yes, for sure, this is something which is very, very doable. Grim was asking a very, very similar question as well. Okay, Shivku sir, mine too. Aditya, that question has been taken. if you can go ahead and just give a call to one of Shivku or GP. Is there anything you'd suggest a person to learn
सॉरी
before
सॉरी
going to
आदित्य, दोनों को मत करो, किसी एक को करना.
one of? Yeah, so I think again ये generally question जो होता है वो in the month of April आता है कि सर थैंक यू फॉर ऑल द हेल्प, ABC से कॉल आ गया है, L से कॉल आ गया है, जा रहे हैं, अब बता दो नेक्स्ट 2 मंथ्स में क्या करूं. मेरा उसका आंसर थोड़ा सिंपल होता है जो अभी के लिए रेलेवेंट नहीं होगा, बट या एनीथिंग स्पेसिफिक दैट यू वुड लाइक टू ऐड हियर, शिवकू, anything that you'd suggest a person should learn before going to a B school?
I mean, I think हम तो ऐसे ही चले गए, ठीक है. I think the one thing is I feel, at least I tell to students who go through our PDP process, that whatever happens in the PDP, right, just take it along with you, because there will be times when you have failures there, right. Your ability to hold yourself, right, trust yourself in a MBA, I think is all the more important, because वहाँ का जो peer pressure है unimaginable है, right. You tend to kind of fake your I mean, you tend to be uh, very very much influenced by what's happening around you. I've seen people, for example, I've seen the topper in my batch uh, crying, uh, crying so much because he didn't make it through McKinsey. But today, when we kind of are in the groups, and that guy is doing beautiful in life. So I think to be able to Stita Pragnawala story, I think it is very important. You got to hold on to your self. You don't let yourself go away. That's it. Otherwise, बाकी क्या पढ़ाई वढ़ाई तो हो ही जाएगी.
I think to the same question, Shivku, one thing I would say is that be open to whatever you are going to experience. I mean, don't keep yourself in a shell. Okay, be open with everyone there. I mean, I remember the first day I went to the college and to IM Kashipur in the canteen. मेरे को लगा मैं ऐसे गांव से इंजीनियरिंग किया हुआ आदमी. I went into the college because I wrote CAT because some of my friends were writing it. I took up MBA. I cleared the interview somehow. I went there, and the first day in the college, in the canteen, I was thinking कि लोग ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा क्या डिस्कस करेंगे, क्रिकेट के बारे में, बॉलीवुड के बारे में, फुटबॉल चल तीनों आता है अपने को, right? I was shocked. मतलब there was this guy called Rakshit Joshi. He was asking Ashish Gandhi, Ashish, what's your take on the 2008 financial collapse? मैं बोला maybe I am in a wrong place, right? I looked at people around me. I was a fresher. People around me were, 70. My roommate Rahul was 73 months experience, work experience of 73 months, right? The other two people that I met on the train on the way were about 5 years in experience in Infosys and TCS, like this, 3-4 years, 5 years. I said, ये बुड्ढों के बीच में मैं कहाँ फंस गया? But at the end of the day, I learned a lot outside the classroom. Keep yourself open to learn a lot outside the classroom. What an MBA essentially teaches you is what you can learn outside the classroom when you interact with that batch of 200 people who are around you. वो लोग तुमको बहुत कुछ सिखाएंगे, right? So keep your eyes broad and vision broad and keep it open for everyone. That is one thing I would say.
I'll just add to that, Ravi. Just be
Yeah.
slightly wary of peer pressure. That's one part that I'll add for sure about a B school. A lot of students could get overwhelmed by this. Okay, 60 months इधर, 72 months इधर, ये फाइनेंशियल क्राइसिस मेरे को तो पता भी नहीं क्या हुआ था, मैं तो सोचा भी नहीं उसके बारे में, तो स्कूल में था, मस्त टिफिन खाता था, चिल मारता था, ये क्या फाइनेंशियल. Don't be overwhelmed. Don't be overwhelmed. Relax. The actual essence of chilling in life, opt it. Don't fake chilling. You actually need to learn how to chill. You actually need to learn how to detach, because otherwise it is one of the toughest places to survive in. So that's the only thing that I would add. Probably a little bit more about that during PDP, post PDP, and all. But yeah, I think it's very important to be able to detach and not take everything seriously. Peer pressure बहुत होगा. Just relax. It's okay. The fact that you've gotten in, trust me, you will get out and get into a very, very good place. Yeah, I'll just add one question because quant के काफी questions आ रहे हैं एंड रवि तेरे से ही शुरू करते हैं LRDA के गुरु तो हो बट क्वांट पे भी आंसर कर सकते हो सो लेट्स स्टार्ट
GB,
विद
I
यू
will drop out. मेरा class 9:30 को है.
श्योर
हाँ?
श्योर शिवको
Okay.
थैंक यू
Thank you,
I
Shivku.
also need to drop out in 5 minutes. I also have a class at 9:30. So this is my second attempt, and I'm still struggling to clear QA cutoff in the mocks. Can you help me? I tend to be able to solve these questions once the mock is over. I think, see, primarily when you look at questions of quant, if you are able to solve it after the paper, there may be two reasons. One reason is that it is basically the second time you are looking at it, and you will be already having a map in your mind when you are looking at it for the second time. The other thing is, why are you not able to do it during the mock? I believe, every quant question, GB or GP, it could be divided into two parts. One part is logic of the question, कि question मेरे से चाहता क्या है. Second part is the calculation or the working of the question, right? So if by looking at the question, if you cannot crack the logic of it, I mean, when I say looking at the question, you write down the given data and you write down what is to be found, matlab what are the resources you have and where you have to go. If that problem is clearly written in front of you, you will find a way. If you are not able to find a way right there, leave that question. I mean, you cannot manufacture logic on spot for that question. अगर नहीं आता है तो छोड़ दो उसको. Don't worry about it. Only go for those questions, even if they are a little longer in terms of calculation. You know that the working is going to be a little longer, but if you are clear about the logic, that it is going to take even 4 minutes, I think go ahead, attempt it. For those who are struggling to clear the sectional cutoff, if you get 3 marks in 4 minutes, बुरा है क्या? It's very good, right? So figure out, do you know the logic or not? If you don't know the logic, don't go for manufacturing the logic at that point.
perfect GP anything you'd like to add to this before we move to the
Yeah,
next
I think
section
Ravi has given the complete answer. इसमें कोई specific चीज ऐड करने के लिए दिखती नहीं है मुझे. Because I would have said the same thing कि सवाल देख के समझ नहीं आया तो छोड़ दो आगे चलो, because end of the day 50% attempt is a very good attempt in this paper.
perfect Neha we could probably move ahead
Ravi, in case you are leaving,
Yeah,
we'll miss you.
yeah, thank you.
I think you're
And
taking the
real ID
first
say
session for the 25 batch right you're taking the
Next.
first
yeah,
session
I'm
for the
taking that.
25 batch right
Yeah.
enjoy
Okay.
रायू को बुला रहे हो
Thank you
रियल आईडी
guys.
से
Huh? No.
nothing
She has to come from the real ID.
see ya
Thank you guys. Thank you
bye
so much.
bye I want to know about the vibes that students get at an IM.
Student get in IIMs. देखो IIM के अंदर नहीं मिलता, IIM के बाहर ज्यादा मिलता है. Once you clear CAT and you make it, you do the interview well and you get a final admission call, तो वाइज बाहर वालों से बहुत मिलते हैं. But inside IIM everyone is at par, except for occasionally some people will try to showcase कि वो बहुत महान इंसान है, but ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. Okay? So students who are inside the IIMs are normal students like anyone else. It's just that they decide to put in more effort and they were a little more cool, calm, and composed during the paper. That's all. Otherwise, the vibes are normal.
Perfect. Let's. So this one was for Ravi. Perhaps Sazeal, you could look at it. I've understood all the concepts taught in class, and I can also solve them. But while sitting for mocks or sectional tests, I'm unable to solve questions in quant. And understanding DLR sets also takes a toll on me. What strategy should I opt for?
First of all, there are two things that I say. One is do enough practice. Okay, of course, smart practice in the sense, do when you appear for a mock, do an analysis, understand what are your strengths and weaknesses, fortify your strengths, like work slightly on your weaknesses, strategize accordingly for the next mock. So it's a cycle, right? You test, you analyze, you prepare first, you practice, then you test, then you analyze, then you go back to your prep, and in between you keep strategizing, right? So this is one cycle that goes on, right? While doing this, do a lot of practice. For example, in DILR, you need to do a lot of questions, a lot of different kinds of sets. अगर तुम कुछ सेट्स करके ये एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे हो कि वही वाला कुछ रिपीट हो जाएगा कैट में, तो वो नहीं होने वाला. सो बेसिकली यू नीड टू सी एज मेनी, और रिपीट नहीं होने वाला. सो एनीथिंग यू डू माइट नॉट exactly appear, but if you do a lot of questions, you are sharpening yourself, and in case there's something familiar which comes in, तो तुम्हें थोड़ा आइडिया है कि स्टार्टिंग पॉइंट क्या होगा मेरा. So that is one thing. Second thing that I was saying was, always take a time test, whether you are solving quant questions or DLR sets or RCs or whatever. Make sure that you take a timed test, which means, just for an example, if you need to do a particular set in, let's say, 12 minutes for DILR, suppose, right? And right now you might be taking 22 minutes, 25 minutes to solve, if at all, right? Then slowly, or for example, a better example would be RC करने में सर 12-14 मिनट लगते हैं, and I need to do an RC in 7-8 minutes, suppose, right? Then you need to first measure yourself कि 12-14 मिनट लग रहे हैं, and then start reducing a minute every week, and keep practicing that way. Give yourself a crunch time. Some student told me that a DILR set in daily dose हो जाता है, but mock में नहीं होता. तो डेली डोज में अगर तेरे से हो जा रहा है, तो गिव योरसेल्फ शॉर्टर टाइम देन व्हाट इज अवेलेबल फॉर यू, एंड मेक इट डिफिकल्ट फॉर योरसेल्फ, राइट? सो यू हैव टू प्रिपेयर योरसेल्फ फॉर एवरी सिचुएशन दैट कम्स इन. वन जोक दैट जीजो हैड शेयर्ड, वो मैं आपको बताता हूँ, राइट? जोक नहीं, एक रियल सिनेरियो है, वेयर अ स्टूडेंट in a section of 40 minutes spent the first 8-10 minutes doing nothing. So he let the pressure build up. So it was a simulation of sort, जहाँ पे उसने प्रेशर क्रिएट किया अपने लिए ताकि वो प्रेशर में परफॉर्म कर पाए. दिस इज द काइंड ऑफ प्रैक्टिस दैट रियल स्टूडेंट्स डू, राइट? So that is my answer to that. Over to you, GB and GP.
Perfect. I think the only thing that I would add here is अंडरस्टैंडिंग DILR टेक्स अ टोल. यार एक इस पर्सपेक्टिव से बस थोड़ा देख लो दैट एट द एंड ऑफ द डे you have 40 minutes, and in those 40 minutes, even if you end up solving one LRDI set, you're still going to be very, very close to a 90 percentile. So for somebody who at this point in time is worrying about मेरे basic cut off marks भी आ रहे हैं कि नहीं, am I going to score enough or not, go in with a mentality which states come what, मैं 40 minutes से एक set करके आऊंगा या करके आऊंगी. That's it. Just keep it as simple as that. Then after that, if things are going in your favor, there are another couple of questions that you can pick up, another set you can look at. Great. One is what you need to be aiming for, and the same thing goes in quant, where you turn around and say 5 to 6 questions अगर हो गए मेरा काम हो गया, 90 percentile आ जाएगा. So I'm saying, if I'm looking at it from the perspective of all years post COVID, 5 to 6 questions in quant, one set in LRDI is close to a 90 percentile considering the 40-minute time frame. So I always turn around and state this, that to me, CAT is like a T20 match where you're chasing. You know the score. Unlike it being a T20 match where you're setting the score. I always want to think of it as I know what the score is, what the target is. Target का एक range है. तो target के accordingly अगर करोगे, I think things become slightly easier. So that's the only thing that I would like to go ahead and add. Yeah. Neha, probably we could move to the next one.
GB, this was
Okay.
for you. It's my very first attempt of CAT, and I have started my prep from August. I feel I'm not that good at quant, and what should be my strategy for the remaining period?
Perfect. So once again, back calculate, about 85 days, 80 days roughly to CAT. Say the last 3, 4, 5 days, there'll not be a lot that you'll be doing. So let's boil it down to 75 days to CAT. Of the 22 questions that will come in quant, I think one thing which is very, very clear, which no IM has moved away from, is the weightage to arithmetic plus algebra, which hovers anywhere between about 60 to 70%. So about 12 to 14 questions वहां से आएंगे. अगर आप easy questions, sitters, this might be a right time to turn around and state कि I hope you are attending RT99. wherever you are, whichever city you are in. If you've not, if the session has happened there, I hope you attended it. If it's not happened, there will happen. Please ensure you attend it. There'll be one which will happen online, which will be a different one. Attend that as well. We are looking at, we conduct a lot of sessions on YouTube. Attend those as well. The reason I'm pointing that out is, at that point in time, when the actual CAT paper is picked up in RT99 or in other sessions, you will realize that the sitters or the easy questions are always in the range of about 8 to 10 questions. Now वो 8 to 10 questions भी identify कर पाओ अगर across different topics, yeah, even across 2 or 3 specific topics like arithmetic, algebra, you'll get 4, 5, 6 sitters. If you're able to do that also, basis or based on empirical evidence, that's close to a 90 percentile. 5 to 6 questions is a 90 percentile, and that is what data actually states over the course of the last 3 to 4 years. So the first thing is to turn around and convince yourself, I'm good enough कि मैं हाँ 6 to 8 questions at least CAT में निकाल लूंगा. I've got 75 days to go. इतना I'll be able to do. Second thing is actually look at a CAT paper and realize that 60, 70, 80% of a CAT paper is class 7, 8, 9 math or quant. Third is realize that arithmetic and algebra, which is going to form the basis, is something I have enough time to do across 70 days. And the fourth is realize that there are actually 6 to 8, 10 sitters, which I'll be able to go ahead and attend. When all of this comes together, mindset automatically becomes positive. The day the mindset becomes positive, you'll be able to handle it. Obviously you'll have to do enough practice. Obviously you'll need to go through questions. Another suggestion would be, don't practice through offline material. It's an online exam. ऑफलाइन मटेरियल पढ़ के वहां अंडरलाइन करके उसके साइड में स्क्रिबल करके सॉल्व करोगे, दैट विल नॉट हेल्प यू. ऑनलाइन पढ़ के उसको एक ब्लैंक पेपर पे सॉल्व करना है समथिंग यू शुड स्टार्ट डूइंग फ्रॉम डे वन सिंस यू आर स्टार्टिंग एट दिस पॉइंट इन टाइम. सो जस्ट कीप सम ऑफ दिस इन माइंड and be positive mentally that I'll be able to address it. And if you haven't, do ensure you attend the RT99 session, because I'm quite sure that that will fill you up with a lot of positivity.
GB, एक क्वेश्चन है सर, कैन यू सजेस्ट व्हेन आई शुड अपीयर फॉर एनमैट? सो क्विकली, वेरी सिंपल आंसर गाइस. 5 नवंबर से 15 नवंबर के बीच में डेट ले लो. 5 नवंबर से 15 नवंबर इसलिए बिकॉज 15 नवंबर से 24 नवंबर you should focus on CAT alone, or you could take it after CAT, 2 days after CAT, so that you are not disturbed with it, right? So that's how it should be, as a simple answer.
Agreed. Just one thing I'll add, Sazeal, there, make it either way, which means if you're doing it about 10-15 days before CAT, then similarly 10-15 days after CAT. 2-3 days mat karna. Reason being, you'll need to attempt some 4-5 mocks to get used to that pattern.
Right.
And second, NMAT mein one special thing or different thing is, it's the only paper, I shouldn't say the only paper because the other untimed papers like SNAP and ZAT also allow the same, but in NMAT, you decide the order in which you want to attempt the paper. उसके लिए you might want to attempt some 3, 4, 5 mocks to, take a call कि मेरे को पहले ये करना है, which one works for me. So do keep those 10-15 days in hand post CAT as well to do it. Also NMAT की preparation and SNAP की preparation goes hand in hand. And SNAP के आपके तीनों भी will be 8th से लेके 22nd December. So you can take NMAT and SNAP in that same vicinity because preparation में कोई फर्क नहीं होगा. Yeah.
Let's go to the next question. Okay, this one's for me. How reliable MBA profilizer tool is if it shows that certain percentile is required to get into an IIM? How much variation is there with calls at required percentile? Thanks. Okay, so profilizer is very accurate. As in very accurate, when I say, I mean कि बहुत कम variation होगा, maybe 0.3, 0.4, 0.5 percentile here and there. The reason is, however, I will put some disclaimer there also. The data is based, जो profilizer बना है ना, it is based on data. Okay, data of what? There's one thing which the B schools post, as in what is the requirement at their end, and what the previous year's percentiles have suggested what happens, right? So ये दोनों चीजों पे based है, hence it is on the previous year data. If let's say B school changes any parameter or any weightage, let's say 10th 12th graduation के mark का weightage change कर दिया, तो yes it will differ. Because हमारा तो profilizer previous जो CAT ने बोला है, of course we will be changing it. So once that announcement is done by the CAT or the IIMs by themselves, then we will make changes to that profilizer also as and when that happens. So it is supposed to be very accurate, and there's a very small variation there.
I think
right?
somebody just posted as well. It's that could be a mixture of profilizer and percentile predictor, but somebody Grim just stated last year you calculated my almost my exact cat percentile. So I am very confident
You know what happens
about
is we've I would like to mention something here. होड़ में कुछ इंस्टीट्यूट्स, आई वोंट नेम एनीबॉडी, बट कुछ इंस्टीट्यूट होड़ में लग जाते हैं कि हम लोग जल्दी परसेंटाइल प्रेडिक्शन करेंगे, हम जल्दी कुछ निकालेंगे, उस चक्कर में बहुत एरनियस चीजें भी आती हैं. CL on the other hand, we take time and we make sure that the right thing comes out. So we work on that. Okay, and for that we need some amount of data, some time, and hence we are able to get it so accurate. Okay, it's very
And
statistical and it's
Sunil, interesting चीज ये है, for
जी
at least last 3 years I've been seeing, once we come out with our cutoffs, everyone changes their cutoffs.
एब्सोल्युटली सर. पहले किसी का ऑर्डर आता है वो चेंज हो जाता है. वेरी ट्रू.
लास्ट ईयर जो हमने 78 के करीब डाला था, उसके पहले सबका कुछ 89, 90, 86, someone had given 95 also. After
Correct,
70,
correct.
everyone's cutoffs change immediately. But ठीक है, that's fine.
Great.
yeah, Neha.
So let's
GP,
pick
probably
this.
you could pick this one up.
Yes.
How to
How
reduce
to reduce
distractions and
distractions.
give some routine tips about routine. Okay. These distractions are self-created. You have to be very clear what is your priority, and and that distraction is something which will happen if you want it to happen. If you're looking for an excuse, you look at that distraction. Okay. The only thing to keep yourself motivated is to remember that your career will definitely take a turn for the positive if you get into one of the top institutes. So वो चीज खाली याद रखो. And एक चीज जो मैं बहुत लोगों को भी बोलता हूँ, फिर से बोल देता हूँ, that if you and your girlfriend or you and your boyfriend are preparing together and the other person makes it, you'll become an ex. So तुम ex मत बनो, इसका motivation लेके ही काम कर लो. ठीक है. So ये दो तीन चीजें होती हैं. The other thing is the other thing which you need to also look at is when you talk about tips about routine, there cannot be a standard routine for everyone because different people work in different ways. So you need to work out your routine for yourself. The only thing I would say is be consistent with what you normally do, which means if you have to do, for example, some people love doing 6 hours of one thing. Some people want to do 2 hours of one, do something else of 2 hours and something else of 2 hours and want to take breaks. Then some people will be able to work 8 to 10 hours a day. Some people will struggle after 4 hours. So look at yourself and say, ask yourself in the past 15 years of your life, what has worked for you? What is your way of working and stick to it? Some people like working early morning. Some people like working late nights. Your call. Give respect to your body clock, and your way of working, and create a routine around that. Okay? The only thing with respect to routine, apart from what I've just said, is I would like to add is that make sure that you do everything on a regular basis. And when I say everything, yes, you practice, you do new questions, and you do all 3 sections. In addition to that, you revise a lot. You do mocks also. Because I've seen students doing 6 mocks a week. It's a complete waste of time. If you have taken a mock and you have not analyzed and understood where did you go wrong, doing another mock is not going to help you at all. Same thing with they do lots of RC practice without really analyzing where they're going wrong. Because if you don't understand what are the mistakes you're committing, and I'm not talking about mistakes in terms of ye sawal galat ho gaya, mistakes in terms of the way you are taking the paper. If you don't rectify that way of working, taking the paper, you are going to solidify that wrong approach. And more the papers you take, the worse off you would be. Okay, so these are few things which you could look at for yourself and create a routine for yourself. One last thing, yeah, the one thing which I don't find students doing, hence I'm mentioning it, is revision. Revise quant and DILR question on a regular basis. It is okay to do fewer questions with lots of revision. Raviteja had talked about a little while ago that rather than worrying about knowing 100% or 1,000 things, I should make sure I know at least 500 things very well कि वहां पे गलती ना हो. Okay.
GP, उसी का एक follow on question है. How would you recommend?
Okay, both for quant and DILR, revision does not work much for the verbal, but for quant and DILR, when I'm saying revise, you don't revise the very easy question, you don't revise the very difficult question. Look at the mocks which you have gone through, look at the section test, look at the old CAT papers. Each of these papers would have a few questions which you can handle, but you get a little confused. Each of these papers have some questions which give you jugaad. Each of these questions have some questions which clear a concept for you. These are what I call important questions. These are the questions you need to sit once a week and solve them completely by putting a pen on paper if required. And this is what you do for quant and DILR. And if you can do only for the bare minimum outside, do it at least for all the mocks and old CAT papers. Okay, this will take care of the revision part. This will ensure you'll not forget anything.
GB, this Gautam is for you.
A simple question, right? Is it possible? Answer is yes, it is possible.
इसमें तो कोई debate
Every
ही नहीं
year
है.
people get it, so it is possible. So easy question. How and all was not asked, so I won't answer. But I'll side by side pick up a question because Samriddhi is asking a question regarding the IIM Calcutta admission process. In the first round, when the value of CAT is 56, do we divide our marks by 198 or the highest marks in CAT that year? First, you will not do anything. IIM Calcutta will be doing it because on the basis of that, they'll call you. Second, it's not done by that. It's basically marks scored by you divided by the highest marks scored by somebody in CAT. So say the highest mark somebody scores is 165 and say you score 100. So it'll be 100 by 165 into 56. That's how they will calculate what you get out of 56, for your CAT score. So that's the process that they follow.
Right.
जीपी इंटरेस्टिंग क्वेश्चन. जुगाड़ अप्रोच से क्वेश्चन सॉल्व करने के लिए क्या जुगाड़ मेथड की अलग से प्रैक्टिस करनी चाहिए?
देखो, स्टार्ट तो तुम्हारा यहीं से होगा. All the जुगाड़ questions which have come across, at least उनको 3 बार रिवाइज कर लो. That is your start point. After that, you'll have to start creating जुगाड़ for yourself. When you look at those questions, you'll have to start looking at them. अच्छा, इसमें कुछ अलग चीज हो सकती थी. Is there any choice which I could have used? And yeah, but ये start तो वही होगा. अलग से practice करके, because this is not something you have done. This is not something you have learnt in school or college. Yeah. So you don't think in along those lines. And fortunately for me, that is the way I've always worked. So for me, this is very, very natural way of working. For you, it is not a natural way, so you'll need to put in that effort, get used to it, and then you'll start creating jugards for yourself.
Perfect. Yeah. Sazeal, this one's for you. I'm able to
Okay.
score 30 plus in quant and LRDI, but in VARC my scores are poor. How to improve?
So यार यहाँ से ना, first of all, the keyword is reading, because whether it is about RC or it is about para jumbles or para completion or whatever, para summary, all of it, it requires the skills that you have for reading and comprehension. So basically reading and comprehension skills are the must. Secondly, क्या read करना है उसका कोई limit नहीं है, hence there is no syllabus. You don't limit yourself and you do a wide range of reading. Okay, there is a reading zone available in your, if for the CL students, it's available in your student portal, that is my zone, right? So you need not go anywhere but read whatever comes to your mind. For example, अगर अब तक पता चल गया है कि मुझे बायोलॉजी या फिलोसॉफी या व्हाटएवर एक चीज नहीं वर्क कर रही है, पता है, राइट? तो 30 मिनट का कंटेंट खोल के रख दो और 30 मिनट बैठ के स्क्रीन पे पढ़ो, right? And do this for a course of 7, 8, 10 days. You don't have to become comfortable or you don't have to start liking or loving a topic. You have to become numb with it कि मैं पढ़ लूंगा और मुझे समझ लूंगा, उतना मुझे पता है, ठीक है? You need not fall in love with a topic. So basically reading करना है, that's the core of it. Secondly, practice questions. So RC को practice करना है, VA के questions को ignore नहीं करना है. If you start practicing para jumbles today and do 2, 3 questions or 4 questions every day, you will not need to ignore those questions in the test and you will benefit from it. Score आएगा उससे, ठीक है? Daily dose कर लोगे तो तुम्हारा काम हो जाएगा, रोज का practice of your RC and VA. So daily dose reading practice, at least 4 to 5 RCs per day or 3 to 4 RCs per day तो करो ही करो. मॉक्स करो, मॉक्स को होने के बाद वापस सॉल्व करो क्वेश्चन, solve them again in case you've missed out or you've not been able to get them, right? Do it in a timed manner. The practice that you do it in a timed manner if possible, right? I think verbal is about, like GP talked about consistency a while back. right? Verbal is nothing but consistency. एक example देता हूँ, मेरा एक student था यश. Yash ended up scoring a 99.96 percentile in CAT, right, couple of years back. Uh, so he came to me in July or August maybe, saying that sir सब कुछ कर लिया, कौन DILR मेरा 99 plus percentile mocks में आने लगा है, but verbal मेरा 46-50 percentile के ऊपर नहीं जा रहा है, right? The score was corresponding to that percentile. So I gave him these things and he started doing them. By Diwali, by October 7th or 8th, he had still not been able to cross 76 percentile. Actual CAT mein he got a 98.6 percentile in verbal. Sorry, 99.6 percentile in verbal. Right? So this is possible. So don't give up. So अगर आपका वो एक जो change आना है ना, वो transition where you don't know where you will crack it. So all you need to do is keep practicing. You will get the idea. Make sure you do enough practice and make sure you analyze your tests. Compare your answers with the solutions or the right answers that have come out. So जो टेस्ट के बाद की मेहनत है एनालिसिस की वो भी करनी है. So I think these are the things you must do. In case I'm missing anything, GP Gautam, please share.
एक चीज खाली ऐड कर सकता हूँ इसमें. ओपन कैट में इफ यू गो टू ओपन कैट and go look at the verbal section, you'll have some videos from Gijo. They'll help you understand how the choice elimination has to be done.
Perfect.
Okay, Ravi's question.
From Kashipur, got to know you did it from IIM Kashipur. Should I keep IIM Kashipur in my list of colleges?
Yes.
Again,
Okay.
on behalf of Ravi, I'll say
एक
yes.
तो yes
At this point,
बोल
in
दिया
time,
है
yes.
GP ने. लेकिन मेरा एक छोटा सा थॉट है, मैं स्टूडेंट से शेयर करता हूँ. See, any forms that you fill, the length of forms that you'll fill multiple forms on the basis of a simple logic that I'll give you. Aspirational, realistic and backup colleges. 3 तरह की colleges होती हैं जहां आप खड़े हो. आज नहीं, आज से महीने 1.5 महीने बाद, 1.5 month later, what you think will be your percentile as compared to what it is today, right? There will be an realistic college in that realistic range of percentiles you are in. Above that realistic range, you will have an aspirational list of colleges and some backup. So, for example, if someone who's hitting a 97 percentile, definitely an FMS to bharna hai. But FMS is an aspirational college, not a realistic college. Similarly, there will be some backup colleges. Kashipur, for those of you who are targeting the top 6 IIMs or top 10 colleges or whatever, Kashipur will be a backup college. So most of you, Kashipur will be a realistic college. And for a couple of you who are not able to score, it will be a aspirational college. So either way, this college will figure somewhere in your list of forms that you'll fill.
I'll just add one thing to this, Sazeal, which is especially for the IIMs, when you're filling the CAT form, ना तो कुछ पैसा लगता है, ना कुछ लगता है सारे IIMs पे अप्लाई करने को. और इनफैक्ट मेरा एक इस पे अलग कॉल रहता है दैट especially for quite a few of you all, hypothetically, even if you don't want to go to a Kashipur, but you will get a call from a Kashipur or the other colleges and a CAP, that interview will be the best mock interview for an ABC or L interview. Number one. Number two, for many of you, that might be one of the best colleges you end up getting a call from. Number three is, the biggest high that any student ever gets is getting calls from a lot of colleges, converting a lot of colleges, and then you rejecting the colleges. That is the aspiration that you should have. I always tell this to students. If you end up getting 10 calls, जब आप PDP में आओगे हम लोग बात कर रहे हो और आप बोलोगे 10 calls है, मेरा बस ये रहेगा, fight to get all 10 calls, then you reject 9 and you turn around and say I rejected 9 colleges, because you will eventually go to 1. So I'll always turn around and state any IIM, whatever, the newest possible, Bodh Gaya, Jammu, I think there'll be the newest, Visakhapatnam, Nagpur, inme se koi hoga, the newest versus the oldest, and Calcutta is the oldest, the first IIM. This entire gamut, ensure you're applying to every single IIM. इसके साथ साथ also there'll be 4 or 5 additional colleges, which I think every student should apply and not forget. So please don't turn around and not apply to these, stating कि मेरा तो aspiration ये था. Do not make that mistake. I'm sure GP, Sazeal, both of you all have experiences of students जिन्होंने बोला मेरा तो aspiration ये था, एंड देन सैडली इन कॉलेज इस पे अप्लाई नहीं किया और कहीं से नहीं आया.
Yeah.
Very true.
बहुत
Every
होता है
year
यार.
we get.
It's quite a few, and then Gautam, what you said, I think सबसे important वही है यार, अभी सब भर दो. फॉर्म भरने का मतलब ये नहीं है कि उन्होंने तुमको एडमिशन दे दिया और तुमने एक्सेप्ट कर लिया. देयर आर टू मेनी इफ्स उसमें. सो डोंट गेट इन फॉल इनटू दिस ट्रैप कि मेरी ईगो है, नहीं मेरे को यही अप्लाई करना है. यू आर नॉट, हु आर यू प्रूविंग अ पॉइंट टू? एंड एज गौतम सेड, if you get an interview call from these institutes, that is going to be the best mock interview, and that will be better preparation for your actual interview which you are desirous of as compared to any other mock interview.
Bang on.
Yeah, Neha, let's move. Okay, I'm getting demotivated day by day. My marks are not improving. Does being from arts background is being from an arts background a big disadvantage? I'll flip this. I'll say that is the biggest possible advantage you can have at this point in time, being from an arts background. Because सबसे पहले तो if you are from an arts background, I hope you realize a college like IIM Ahmedabad, if your 10, 12 undergrads are in place, basic आपका hygiene level है 85 plus 90 plus and all. I hope you realize that a college like IIM Ahmedabad calls students from an arts background at a 88, 89 percentile as well. And when you correspondingly start checking na 88, 89 percentile kitna hota hai last 2 years mein, you will realize it's a score of sub 40, sub 45 last 2-3 years mein. That means if you end up scoring about 45 odd marks, you have a very, very good chance. If you got a decent profile and you're from an arts background, you'll end up getting a call. So I always turn it around, and I always turn it around and state what is the target score basis my profile. So once again, I think the profilizer will be a very good tool for you. If you've asked this question, feed in your details into the profilizer. I'm quite sure you'll be surprised by the outcome कि मेरे प्रोफाइल के बेसिस पे मेरे को किस परसेंटाइल पे कॉल चाहिए. सो डीमोटिवेटेड की जगह आई थिंक यू विल बी वेरी वेरी मोटिवेटेड, realizing that the marks that I need are not very very high. And even if you're scoring roughly around 20-25 marks right now, and you need to move to a 45-50, you're talking about 20 marks. Please keep in mind, one wrong answer to one right answer is +4. 20 marks basically means 5 questions you're getting incorrect, which you need to get right over the period, over the next 75 days. So I'm quite sure that that will instill a little bit of confidence in you. And then everything that we've spoken about over the last 20-25 minutes in terms of preparation across various sections, I will not repeat that, but just if you start following all of that, I'm quite sure there's a good chance that you'll go ahead and make it to one of the colleges. Anything to add, Sazeal, GP?
No, I think that's it.
Okay, let's move to the next one. Verbal question, Jijo, Sazeal, maybe you could pick this up. Sir, I wanted to ask that few days back I was scoring well in VARC and was improving, but now it kind of seems lost. I'm not able to focus clearly on the RCs and my mind keeps deviating. How can I regain and ace the VARC section? You're on mute, Sazeal.
I think what you're doing, my friend, is you are taking too much pressure. जो पहले नहीं था, आप pressure ले रहे हो. जो आता है आपको, जो what you can do, what is your skill, you cannot forget that. You cannot unlearn that. ठीक है, you have not forgotten how to do the question right or how to read and comprehend. So basically, I don't think you've gone back in in terms of your capability. I think what you're doing is taking pressure. So let it go. तुम्हें solve करना है बस, और enough practice करोगे. Simulate the situation of your test outside the test also, so that you are used to the pressure that is there. I think that should help you do this. If you practiced enough, और कोई reason नहीं है why you shouldn't be able to do it. That's what I can think about it right now.
Anything you want to add, GP?
And one more thing, I'm so sorry. One more thing, do not ignore VA. That's the biggest mistake people make. RC को पकड़ में लो, लेकिन VA का साथ मत छोड़. VA will save you. If anything, CDC 5, Pro 5 would give you that example. कि RC tough था, but VA ने बचाया है लोगों को. Right? So yeah, GP.
Yeah, I'll possibly reiterate what Sazeal has said, Gautam. उससे ज़्यादा कुछ नहीं कि if earlier you were doing fine, now you are not. I think you have become extra cautious. You are trying to be 100% correct. Earlier, possibly you were going and taking the paper. जो समझ आता था आंसर मार्क करते थे. What you could not understand, you would leave. Now you're saying, I have studied, I have put in effort, so I have to try and get everything right, and hence you're creating a problem for yourself. Okay. Now ask yourself, or rather, look at the earlier papers which you were doing well in. What was your behavior is distinctly different from the way you're taking the paper now? And my guess is most probably yes, and that is where the problem would be. So revert to your earlier way of taking the paper, which my guess is going to be, yeah, I read the passage, understand what is there, take my chances, back myself, and don't worry too much about कि answer गलत तो नहीं हो जाएगा.
जी.
Perfect. I think we've got one last question. This is the last question that's there here. GP, this one's for you. Similar to a previous question, I think. Struggling in quant, syllabus is covered in class, still unable to apply what I've studied. I'm thinking of revisiting all arithmetic chapters. Can you please guide me how I should go ahead and by when my syllabus should be completed?
Okay, पहली चीज syllabus तो complete हो गया है. So ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. Secondly, revising everything or going through each and every class may not be very useful. A better approach might be look at the mocks you have taken so far. Sazeal, total 15 mocks have happened so far.
Yes, more than
Between
15.
Flexi and Pro. Okay.
I
Look
think
at
18 odd tests have happened.
Okay, so whatever that number is, 5 CDC Pro plus a few Flexi. If you look at those about 10-12 papers, just go through them first of all. Look at the questions from various topics. Ones which you don't understand, again, go through the video solution or the text solution and look at the Jugaad videos. And after that, ask yourself, is this a question which I need to put in my revision basket or I am good without it? So and do the same thing for old CAT papers starting from CAT 17 till CAT 23. So this is what will help you do in the revision, and this is what will help you clear the concept. And when you are working with questions from old CAT papers and actual and the mocks, latest mocks, what you are doing is you are looking at the kind of questions which are likely to appear in the paper. So your preparation will be much more focused.
Perfect. So there are a couple of questions I'll just pick up from the chat box and then we can probably call it a day. Akant has asked this about 2 to 3 times. मैंने सिर्फ कैट का फॉर्म अप्लाई कर दिया, 20 मार्क्स आ रहे हैं मॉक में, तो क्या मैं बाकी कॉलेजेस के एप्लीकेशन फी भरूं? या जीपी?
या देख 20 मार्क्स आ रहे हैं, so challenge है. So Akant, what you need to first of all do is not worry about application fees, but worry about this part. You have applied for CAT, and CAT has a large number of good colleges. Even if you are able to get this to something like 40, 45. Now it might look कि 20 से 40, 45 जाना जो है challenge है. It's doubling the score. But please remember, it is 20 marks is 6 questions or 7 questions out of 66 questions. 40, 45 is... Yeah.
-1 to 4, -1 to 3.
हाँ, ठीक है. मैं उतना भी कॉम्प्लिकेट नहीं कर रहा हूँ उसको, बट ठीक है, यू आर एब्सोल्युटली राइट इसमें. And 45 marks means about getting 15 questions right in the paper, which means it is not a challenge per se. Okay, so to me application fees तो डालनी चाहिए, but वो application fees डालने से कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ना है. First thing you need to do is address this particular issue. Now, when you talk about application fees, these colleges, their application is still not open. Apart from CAT and ZAT, I don't think कुछ खास खुला है अभी तक. Yes, you can apply for NM, but I think everything else is yet to come. So don't worry about this part of application fees or applying. Ask yourself, where am I going wrong in the paper? And the first step, Arkant, is after the paper, without time pressure, how many questions are you able to solve in this paper? As Gejo and I have created this concept of our card score. What is your card score? If your card score happens to be 15, 20, then maybe it's an issue of knowledge that you really need to put in effort and up your knowledge base in quant and DILR. But if you find your card score to be something like 40, 45, 50, then it is not a knowledge issue. It is a way you are taking the paper. It's a temperament issue. So that is where I would say rather than anything else. Yeah.
सर ओमिड का एक वीडियो बनाया किस तरह से सिलेबस कंप्लीट करें. इनफैक्ट today only GP and I were having a discussion that the other papers like NMAT, SNAP, that we need to have a few sessions on that. So next week onwards, I think Sazeal, GP, me, Jijo, Shivku, we will start taking a few strategy sessions related to these exams as well, and how you need to prepare for them alongside your CAT preparation. So that will be coming very, very soon. There are a couple of other questions on SNAPCA as well. So all of that will be covered there. Daksh, I've taken a snap, form filling session where I've answered that question. Go ahead and have a look at it.
I think we've
Um,
covered all the three, right? ZAT, NMAT, and SNAP form
yeah,
filling sessions we've had. So you
correct.
can check it out. We will also come up with strategy sessions on that. So yeah.
Uh, okay, ये question I think 2-3 बार आया है. So can you also talk a little bit about ISB as a prospective college as compared to the IIMs?
Okay.
Um,
Shall I take
yeah,
it up?
yeah, sure, Sadil.
ISB Hyderabad is a school. Of course, a very good school as compared to IIMs. It is right up there. You can put it at par with the top three IIMs, no doubt. In fact, for executives, it might just even be better because it is a 1 year course, executive course, and brilliant output when you come out. In terms of placements and everything, the networking and all of it, right? So it's right up there, right? So people who have experience of more than 2 or 3 years should definitely try. There's no reason, and if you are scoring somewhat right, somewhat good, you should give it an attempt, right? अब उसके लिए of course CAT won't suffice. You will have to appear for GMAT, so you may have to plan about that, GMAT or GRE for that matter. So that is one thing. How if we come to freshers, can freshers also apply? Yes, they can. There is something called a Young Leader Program, YLP, right? Which ISB has, which is nothing but a deferred program. So it is a program where if you don't have experience, you can, and you still have a good profile and the required GMAT score is at par. You may get selected. उसके बाद interview process होगा. If you still make it there, which is a very small number, in that case you will have an admission, but you will still have to go for the 2 years experience and come back after 2 years, and your seat will be waiting for you, sort of, right? So that is how a deferred admission works. So young leader program is exactly that. As I said, the seats are very few for it. So but the students may try. There's nothing wrong in trying. So this is about ISB. जीमैट प्रिपेयर कर सकते हैं क्या, ये एक अलग क्वेश्चन है कि जीमैट एक अलग एनिमल है क्या. तो यहाँ पे एक थोड़ा सा थॉट देता हूँ. कैट दे रहे हो, if you are taking CAT, whatever college you are targeting, you will also be taking ZAT or NMAT or SNAP or multiple other exams. मेरे हिसाब से at least 3 to 4 exams तो कोई भी लेगा, right? Any of you. So if you are doing that, GMAT is just another exam. Now, if you look at all these exams together, probably 70 to 75%, 80% course is more or less the same. Course तो same ही है, question type differ करता है, थोड़ा language differ करता है, थोड़ा question का pattern differ करता है, जो paper का pattern marking scheme may differ. So these kind of things differ, right? So for example, an NMAT or a ZAT is different in that sense from a CAT, still having 70% of the paper being the same. So basically, if that in mind, GMAT is just another exam. So yeah, so that is what I had in mind about ISB. Anything to add, GP and Gautam?
Sure, I think perfect. Yeah, I think this is a common question which we'll start getting a lot of now, specifically in quant, I think GP, which is now that we're coming so close to the exam, अब क्या time आ गया है कि थोड़े topics छोड़ दे?
देखो छोड़ना कुछ भी नहीं है. Even if you say I'm not comfortable with PNC, I'll go back to that what I said a little while ago. Can you look at all the questions of CAT, which of PNC? Let's look at CAT 17 to 23 first. Look at CAT 90 to 2008. In these 30 odd papers or 40 papers, you will get maybe another 50 questions. उन 50 को अच्छी तरह से रट्टा मार लो, CAT में उससे मिलता जुलता ही मिलेगा तुम्हें कुछ. Same thing I would say for geometry also. Not comfortable to do all questions of geometry, especially from old CAT papers and the old mocks and the mocks which you have with you, and do them 2-3 times. So what this will do is any basic or initial or surface level question or easy question of these topics you'll be able to handle. If it's a difficult question you won't be able to handle, that's not an issue. Okay.
Kishan, the answer to your question is yes, and this is the last question that probably we'll pick up. And GP, I'll again pose it to you because of the औकात score concept. ये जो औकात score है ये 3x है थोड़ा. So from 35, the औकात score is 107.
Yeah. See, under
So
time pressure, I don't comprehend the triggers. Who's creating that time pressure on you, Saptishi? You have time pressure if you are trying to get 107 marks. You don't have time pressure if you say, I'll do if I understand, I'll leave if I don't understand. Time pressure most of the time is self-created, and that is why I'm saying please learn to, and a little while ago that issue had come, you need to learn to relax in the paper and not be too worried. Ask yourself, what's the worst that will happen to you if you don't do well in CAT? You'll probably still have a good career. Lots of people don't do well in these exams and yet have a terrific career. Look at Google and Microsoft, both headed by Indians, one from Manipal, one from IIT Kharagpur. The person who went to IIT Kharagpur and person who went to Manipal are at the same level, aren't they? So we give too much of importance to these and go back to what Sazeal had started out. वो कुछ स्थिर वगैरह वो जो भी था. Sazeal क्या था यार
स्थित
वो
प्रज्ञा
स्थिर वगैरह? हाँ?
स्थित प्रज्ञा
स्थिर प्रज्ञा वही ठीक है. But my basic theme out here is Saptishi, that don't give so much importance to CAT that it starts hurting you. You are making it a life and death situation, hence you are dying. A do or die effort, 99 out of 100 is a die effort, not a do effort. And I think that is all. Okad score is great. Don't rush. Don't try to get a very high score. Just tell yourself, I'll focus on the process, which means I'll read the question in Quant DILR. If I understand, I'll mark the answer. If I don't understand, I'll leave it and go on. I'll read the RC passage, and based on the understanding of the passage, whatever I can mark, I'll mark. If I don't understand the question, I'll leave and move on. I'll not go back to the passage. I'll go through the verbal question and apply the same theory or same philosophy. So this is a pressure which you have self-created, and hence it's a self-destructive situation which is happening for you.
perfect.
GP,
I think yeah.
I just on this note before we end, I want to just share a small story. मेरा actual CAT was the CAT where we GP we had differential marking. वो half marker, 1 marker, 2 marker
हाँ
आया
हाँ
था first
हाँ 2
time.
साल आए थे वो.
As a surprise, it suddenly sprung up, and it sprung up on the paper. You know, we had a physical paper at that time, not an online paper. So उस time पे it suddenly you read an instruction and you see a different thing. कि half marker, 1 marker, 2 marker अलग-अलग marks है. Right at the my first instance was I, as a person who do not panic, was completely drenched in sweat for the first 5 minutes. And what GP says all the time is exactly the thought that saved me कि अगर मेरी फटी है तो सबकी फटनी है. And this is the exact thing which made me bounce back into the paper. And then I followed Buddhism, the middle path. मैं बोला 1 marker से शुरू करते हैं, बाद में सोचेंगे कहाँ जाना है. And not got worried by it. So that is what saved me in the first place. Right. So that is a personal story. So तुम जितना
and
काम
इसमें
रहोगे ना पेपर के टाइम पे उतना फायदा है.
and इसमें Sazeal, उस पेपर में the 2 question was supposed to be the difficult one. वो सारे 2 marker मैंने जुगाड़ से किए थे. कभी मौका मिलेगा उसका भी जुगाड़ वीडियो बनाते हैं 2 marker questions का. But majority of the 2 mark questions we are able to solve by जुगाड़. ठीक है.
Wow, that's an interesting one.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So
Sorry,
ये
GP,
official formal last question ले लेते हैं. A lot of people have told me that I should get work experience first before thinking of preparing for CAT, and demotivated me to not write CAT. How far is this true? As far away
यार
from the truth as possible.
सॉरी, मैंने इसी सेशन में 2 घंटे पहले बोला, 1.5 घंटे पहले बोला है कि डोंट गिव अ शिट अबाउट व्हाट पीपल थिंक. इफ यू थिंक यू शुड गिव इट दिस ईयर, यू शुड गिव इट दिस ईयर. भाड़ में जाए लोग. ठीक है, तूने सुन लिया, अब तेरे को
This
लेना
is a
देना
short
है
answer question.
Yeah.
Not a long answer, short answer question. So yeah, I think that's about it. Thanks a lot, guys, and I hope you all had fun. Slightly, softer session. Hardcore, बहुत ज़्यादा, टेक्निकल बातें नहीं की. एटलीस्ट फर्स्ट हाफ में, सेकंड हाफ में फिर भी टेक्निकल बातें काफ़ी आ गई. It was good fun for all of us, and as I think Ravi had pointed out, happy teachers due to all of you all as well, because every day when we come we all learn a lot. Quite a few things that we've learned today as well from some of the questions that were posed. As I said, googly starting में ही आ गई थी आज के क्लास में. तो So
Good.
thank you and happy Teachers Day.
Good night and
Thank you,
all
guys.
the
Bye bye.
best.
All the best.
Bye bye.